Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of Heard That. Zach Barnes here for the WT Sports Network. Buff and Lady Buff basketball on the road once again as they went to Kingsville and San Angelo. In Kingsville on Thursday night, Lady Buffs with a very solid performance and a 70-49 win. Sasha Watson, Madison Wild, and Sydney Walton all scoring double-digit points in that game. And then later on that night, the Buffs struggling in turnovers against the Javelinas as they ended up losing that one 76-59. And then on Saturday in San Angelo, the script flipped a little bit as the Lady Buffs ending up struggling against the Rambells. And despite a solid performance from Lily Vanderzee, the Rambells were still able to pull out a 68-66 victory. And then in the second game, the men able to put up a very solid game, specifically a 24-point performance from Ryan Quaid. Buffs end up getting a very big win on the road, 90-81 over Angelo State.
Hopefully we can find a lot of positives and room to grow from. Kingsville, I thought we started out of the gates really quickly, got on top of them, never really allowed it to be a close game. Collective team effort too, we had a lot of people contributing, scoring that game. And then quickly had to move on to Angelo State, which we knew was going to be a tough game. I thought we started off actually the game pretty well, made the first couple buckets, and just never really got settled in that first half on the defensive end. And really throughout the game, made that run late in the third quarter going into the fourth. We gave ourselves every opportunity to walk away with that win, and a few too many turnovers. They hit a couple big threes late in the game to kind of keep themselves in it.
But it's, Kingsville was playing well. They play good defense. It's hard to play down there. They almost got UTPB as well. I think they went double overtime against those guys. So it's a tough league. And what we did against them is we just turned the ball over way too many times. They're a team that controls the ball. They like to play, keep it low scoring, defensive minded. And when you turn the ball over as many times as we did, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot. But we came back against Angelo, and it was a good win for us. David had 10 assists and I think 15 points, and Ryan Quaid was a beast down low, and Eric Mosley, we got some really good minutes out of him, and a lot of guys play really well. Eric Golightly Jr. was very good as well. So that was a good win going into this weekend with Commerce and Tarleton coming to town.
Up next for both teams, they will see their final home games of the regular season before they head to the conference tournament. On Thursday, they will see Texas A&M Commerce at 5:30 and 7:30, and on Saturday, they will see Tarleton State at 2 and 4.
Two really big conference games for us. Two games that we went on the road, lost to Commerce, lost to Tarleton. I'm hoping that we're going to have solid focus this week stepping in. Both of these teams are playing well. Commerce is, they're just finding ways to win those games late, and they've had a few close games, but they're figuring out how to win those games late. And Tarleton, you're always going to get their best. They just never take possessions off. Really just a tough-minded team. So for us, it just starts with Commerce. That's the next game in front of us. We'll focus on them and get ready for Tarleton when we need to on Saturday. Commerce,
we owe them one. We kind of gave one away over there, and that was a tough game for us, but a big win for them. And they play four guards a lot of the time, and they've got some really quick guys, and that's hard for us to match up with. It's hard for any team to match up with that quickness out on the perimeter. They shoot the ball pretty well. They've got a couple kids that can really shoot it, and they're solid inside, but yet we should have an advantage there. Hopefully we have an advantage too, just being at home.
Buffalo baseball once again back home this last week, playing 4 different games. They started off with a 3-game series against Oklahoma Panhandle State, where the Buffs ended up getting a big 3-0 sweep. Scores throughout the weekend started off with a Friday night 22-1 win, followed by the doubleheader win on Saturday 13-1 and 12-2.
Yeah, I was excited about the way we played. I thought we did a pretty good job. We still got a long ways to go. We're still doing some stuff that we talked about in practice that we need to clean up, just some offensive execution. Still, pitchers-wise, we still need to throw more strikes. We're walking too many guys and not throwing enough first pitch strikes. I think our first pitch strike percentage is not exactly where we need it to be. Just working behind in certain counts. Things that we need to clean up just a little bit.
And then last night, the Buffs seeing their first big test of the season as they got to see number 6 Lubbock Christian. Despite a record-setting performance by the Buff pitchers, throwing 22 combined strikeouts, 16 of those coming from Marshall Kozowski, setting his career high. A couple big errors ended up helping Lubbock Christian as they ended up getting the win 3-2. Up this week for Buff baseball, they'll just get to play a single game on the 28th, or they will go to Lubbock to see Lubbock Christian once again.
Yeah, I mean, this is as big of a game as we've had up to this point. Lubbock Christian's a really good team. They ended our season last year. They're a regional tournament team from last year. Expect them to be really good, and that's the one thing that I'd like to see a little bit more of before conference start is some of our bullpen guys. We've got a lot of new arms that haven't really had the chance to throw up to this point. We really need to see those guys in crucial situations.
Lady Buff softball back on the road this last weekend with the Cactus Classic down in Tucson, Arizona. Lady Buffs started the weekend very well, winning their first 3 games against University of Mary, Lincoln Memorial, and Academy of Art. After that, the Lady Buffs ended up seeing Dixie State in both of their last 2 games and ended up losing both of those.
Well, we finally had our first test, and we failed. You know, we've played 16 games to this point, and through 14 of them, we haven't really been challenged very hard. And then we came out with a very good Dixie State team in the last 2 games of the weekend, and we failed. We didn't play well.
Coming up for the Lady Buffs, they'll move from one big test to another, as this weekend they will host Texas Women's in their conference opener here at home. Lady Buffs will see a 7 o'clock game on Friday night and then host a doubleheader at 2 and 4 o'clock on Saturday.
We've got a lot of answers we got to solve before Friday. I mean, we open conference play with a very good Texas women's team. You know, our #1 arm right now is a little beat up. She got hurt again on Sunday, and we've got to evaluate and see where she is. So, I mean, somebody else has to step up in the circle. We had a 5-2 lead Sunday, and we went through 3 pitchers and couldn't hold that lead. You know, one of those 3 have to step up and decide that they're going to be a college pitcher. You know, the biggest challenge is we got to realize we're a 3-time defending champion. And everybody's going to come out and give us their best effort 3 times on the weekend, and you know, that's going to be the biggest challenge. Texas Women's brings a very strong #1 in the circle with a solid #2. They swing the bats well. They have good speed. They're solid, you know, and they play hard. And you know, we've had some really good ball games with them lately, and developed a pretty good rivalry. And you know, our kids have to realize what they're up against, and they have to realize when the lights come on Friday night that they got to step out and play, and they got to be ready to give their best effort, and nothing less than that will be accepted.
WT Track and Field sent both their men's and women's teams to Alamosa, Colorado for the Lone Star Conference Championships this last weekend. The men's side ended up finishing 4th with some solid performances from Todd Hanley and Owen Hind.
Yeah, so, you know, he's qualified in the 5K and the 3K for the national meet right now, and we're at 7,500 feet. I really didn't want to do too much with him this week. I mean, he's trained. He's had a really big training week, running probably 100 miles this week. And so I didn't want to overload him, so I put him in the 3K only so he could come back this week and keep preparing for 3 weeks from now. So he's a solid performer. He's a gutsy racer. Led wire to wire in a pretty tough field. There's some really talented guys in that field, and but the good thing is we're coming away. He's feeling good, so we can get after it this week and really get our sights on 3 weeks from now.
On the women's side, though, a big second day ended up helping the Lady Buffs get their 4th consecutive Lone Star Conference Championship. Riley Caputin, Norma Cunningham, Victoria Rausch, and Kennedy Hudson, all with big performances, record-setting performances at that, with some first-place finishes, ending up helping the Lady Buffs with their win. Riley Caputin's performance also solid enough to earn her the National Player of the Week.
Hey, I'll be honest with you guys, we could have left that meet without a title, and I would have been really happy. With some of the marks that we put up, just the way we competed, I thought our kids did an outstanding job. And I really wasn't even paying attention to the score because I was so excited about the way we were competing. And our conference has just gotten stronger and stronger, and it's definitely one of the best conferences in the nation. And so I was just excited to see how we competed this weekend. But yeah, to win a 4th straight title is great. It's great for the kids.
Up next for both men's and women's track and field, they will head to the Indoor National Championships March 10th and 11th. We'll find out the final names of who all gets to go next Tuesday at 5 o'clock.
I don't know if anything really surprised me, but triple jump was huge for us on the women's side. We went 1, 2, 3, and Relly has now set 2 top 15 marks in Division II of all time in the long jump and triple jump. And our triple jump girls are sitting 1, 2, and 7 nationally. So that's potentially huge points at the national meet. And so for us to come out looking that strong in that event, and the long jump and the throws, and it's really exciting to know that we have that kind of firepower going into the national meet.
Buff and Lady Buff golf both now in full swing with their spring season, as the Buffs get to see their first action of their spring season. They went down to San Antonio for the St. Mary's Invitational, where the Buffs ended up finishing 11th as a team after a solid second-day performance. Braxton Sides finishing a career-best second place individually at the tournament, and the Buffs look forward to their next event on March 6th and 7th, where they will head to Florida Tech for the Panther Invitational. Lady Buffs also traveled south, this time to Austin, for the St. Edward's Invitational. Maddie Mason ending up tying for third individually, as the team ended up finishing 4th place overall. Up next for Lady Buff golf, on March 13th and 14th, they'll head to a familiar place in Wichita Falls for the Midwestern State Invitational. Also coming up this weekend on the 25th and 26th, WT Equestrian will be hosting the Western Regional Championship. We would like to thank you for joining us this week on Heard That. To keep up with all your favorite Buff and Lady Buff sports, just head over to GoBuffsGo.com and come back here every Wednesday for Heard That. Again, for the WT Sports Network, I'm Zach Barnes, and we'll see you next week.